Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. And we're going to talk a little hockey and definitely soccer on this show. But first up, Candice Moxley joins us, the head coach of the women's hockey team here at Buffalo State. And Candice is bringing along Maddie Toczek, a junior from North Tonawanda, defenseman. And then Nick DeMarsh from the conference-winning women's soccer team. And Nick is bringing along Melissa Smith, his outstanding senior from Niagara-Wheatfield. And Steve Murphy, the men's hockey coach, joins us, along with Marcus Michalski, a junior from Woodstock, Ontario. Matt Schaefer is here with Bengal Update, and we'll have the Tim Horton Athlete of the Week. So a big show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little women's hockey. Not have fun on this side or not? We have fun. Look at those smiles. Yeah. Candice Moxley joins us along with Maddie Toczek, her outstanding junior from Star Point. Yay, we got that right off camera. Mox, a lot going on already. Whoa, a lot going on. But first time on the show, and we always like to get the coach's thoughts on the team. A little preview on this year's team.
Okay, well, we came off of a pretty strong season last year.
I'll say.
We're looking to build upon the momentum we started and be a little bit more consistent moving forward and win some hockey games. So,
well, you've won some hockey games. Let's go back a little bit more on the team. You are coming off an outstanding year, 18-8 last season, record in terms of wins. Defensively, offensively, where do you stand right now? What do you like? What don't you like?
You know what? We're always trying to improve from our back end.
Okay.
So defensively, we want to be very strong, especially with some of the competition that we have in our conference with Plattsburgh and Elmira being ranked right at the top in the nation. We need to make sure that we limit their opportunities moving forward. So we always start on the back end defensively, making sure we're strong there, and then that also is our breakouts are the start of our offensive attack. So it's always a focus for our girls to be a threat at all times.
Okay. Maddie, what was your excitement level? What were your thoughts coming into the season, especially after what happened last year?
I think last year, just after we had a very winning season, nice ending. I mean, not exactly what we wanted, but over the summer, everybody put in so much work, and then coming into the season, we started captain's practices, very disciplined, intense practices, and you could see, you could feel the intensity with everybody, even in the preseason, before the season started, you could feel it, and I think there's a lot of excitement going around.
Yeah. This is your fourth season now, Max, and it takes a number of years for a new coach to come in and kind of put the stamp on it. You feel you're there now, this is entirely your program, the type of ladies you want on the ice, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, well, coming in, we didn't have a big roster to begin with.
Correct.
A lot of those players have graduated and moved on. So from recruiting standpoint, everybody in that locker room has been someone that we've recruited and we've brought to this program. So it is, I think we're where we want to be. We're taking the strides that we want. Over the years, we've progressed every year. So it's just a matter of making sure our recruiting's still there and we're recruiting those next level players to help, again, push us forward. So we're up there with
yeah, it's interesting, this whole recruiting thing, especially on the women's side of college hockey. Tell us about your recruiting process. You were at Star Point, but you played for the Bisons, the local Buffalo Bisons, correct?
Yeah.
So how do you and Mox come together, and how do you get to Buffalo State?
Well, actually, I was in my high school didn't have high school hockey, so
right.
A lot of girls are found out through there, recruited through there. I was actually skating at North Buffalo Rink, and Lucy, our old assistant coach, actually skated with my team. I talked to her. She brought it up to me. I was very interested.
Wow.
And it just kind of worked out like that. So I was lucky.
5 degrees of separation. So let's talk about this year. You mentioned a couple of your opponents, and yet here you are, number 8 in the country already, and that's why I previewed this segment with a lot going on. Wow, 3 wins, and all of a sudden we jump up to number 8. Do you kind of sit back and go, "Whoa, number 8? That's pretty heady stuff"? Were you expecting that type of progress and that type of ranking this early?
Well, Utica was ranked pretty early on, pretty much based. They hadn't played any games yet, so it was based on how they performed last season is why they were getting votes. So with us coming in to that Utica weekend and sweeping them, I expected us to get votes, but I didn't necessarily expect us to jump into those rankings.
Okay.
But like our conference is a pretty tough conference. Utica is always up there, and it was really important for us to get those points from them just for league purposes. That's where our focus and our main focus is just performing within our conference, where everything else on the outside there is nice, but our focus is still in conference.
What does it do for the ladies in the locker room when you beat a Utica two days in a row? I mean, where's the confidence level right now?
Oh, it's up. I mean, it's hard not to get ahead of yourself when you see yourself ranked like that. And I think that's really big, just to take it 1 week at a time. Like, don't go in knowing that you're ranked, you're better. Like, you got to keep a steady head, and like in practice, we just always keep working hard in the gym. Like, our efforts like still up our intensity. So just 1 weekend at a time, really. Yeah,
absolutely. Early on, what do you like most from what you see from this team?
I like our speed.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think we're a pretty quick team. We can transition quickly, and I think that's going to help us down the line, especially against some other teams that have a little bit of slower-footed D-core, where our forwards we can just put the puck behind them and go to work.
Okay. This word confidence has come up a couple times, and being eighth in the nation certainly does create the confidence. As a head coach, and knowing there's only been 2 weeks in the season and it's a long year, how do you deal with that confidence level? Like, boy, it's great to be number 8, and yet we still got a few months to go here.
Well, we all still make mistakes, so that's one of those things in practice where we'll stop teaching moments, and it slows practice down a little bit, but we're not consistent. We're not where we need to be yet. We have 7 new players in our locker room that need to adjust to our systems that are going to get there, but aren't necessarily there yet. So the confidence is great, but it's also we have to focus on the smaller part, where it's practice that day and it's our competition that weekend. So by breaking it down, we still can ride that confidence from the past weekend, but it's still making sure our focus is on what's coming down the pipe.
Well, confidence is a great thing. Early on, we've got it. Let's keep it, and go Bengals as we move along the next few months. Mox, Maddie, thanks so much for being on the show. Appreciate it, and best of luck the rest of the season. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to women's soccer. They're in the NCAA tournament. Stay with us. Well, congratulations are going out to Melissa Smith from women's soccer. She is this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. The senior early childhood education major scored the lone goal, her 15th of the season, in the Bengals' 1-0 victory over Geneseo. That was in the conference title game on Saturday. The goal helped Buffalo State earn its first ever conference championship and an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Melissa also scored in Wednesday's 2-0 win over Plattsburgh. That was in the semifinals, and was named the most valuable player of the tournament. Melissa was also honored this week, being named the conference offensive player of the year, and that was for the second straight year. So congratulations to Melissa Smith, this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And look who we have on the show, how that works, Nick. Isn't that something? The creativity we have here. Melissa Smith joins us along with Nick DeMarsh, sorry about that. But Coach, this is an exciting time. We're heading into the NCAA tournament on an automatic bid, first ever. And you've been around for a while, all right? 15 years. You've had a good run. You've had some outstanding teams. Last year's team was outstanding. Give me a placement. Where do you rate this year's team to your last 15 years worth of teams?
This is the best team.
Yeah.
Clearly, we've had some teams that have been very competitive, really high-quality teams that maybe just lacked 1 or 2 ingredients. Last year, I knew this was the best team, and this year we're even better. So.
So last year's team at that time was the best team.
Yeah.
And they came back, except now this is you lose an All-American, your first ever All-American.
Yeah.
So maybe we touched on this in previous shows. How did you get over that hurdle of losing an All-American to where you are now?
Well, that was my fear, and I was a little, pensive going into the season. Like, how are we going to be as secure in the back? But with regard to how we train and our system of play, and the personnel coming back, we made a few adjustments, and we're just as solid. So
yeah, and it doesn't just happen voila. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of work to put into it. Melissa, when you started this year, this was your senior year. Could you forecast this? I mean, what was your thought process when you come to training camp and you look around and you're thinking, what could happen this year?
I was kind of like Nick. I was a little worried about the back line,
Okay.
like missing Gabe and stuff. But like he said, the personnel we had, like once we played that first game, I was like, okay, like maybe we can actually do this. And then we're like, let's just take a game at a time, because I didn't expect to go 9-0 in conference.
Right.
I
exactly.
figured, we're going to have a good season, but we're going to lose a couple games here and there, but that's okay. We're going to get through it. And then all of a sudden we just kept winning and winning and winning. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to hear an offensive player talk about the back end. Does that kind of surprise you coming from her, or is it
Well,
part of her game too?
if you're one of our opponents, you know that our best defenders are our front three players.
There you go.
They press like crazy. They make things difficult on the other team. So we defend from the front all the way to the back. And if my defenders don't have to defend all game, that means Melissa's working real hard.
Right.
And she's probably got the reward of pressing a goal out of the defense,
Absolutely.
stealing the ball and
Little
just putting it in
turnover,
herself.
et cetera.
Exactly.
So, 2 or 3 keys to this season that have gotten you to this point right now.
Well, another question mark I had losing Gabe, not just on field, but off field, was she was a captain, and Meg Allen. She was a captain for
Yes,
us last year.
correct.
Fantastic players, but leadership and experience. So one of the keys for us this year was the leadership of my 3 captains. And there was some debate about captains and, did we make the right choices? Does a player like Melissa Smith have the leadership qualities and experience to kind of put a team on her shoulders and say the right things? Jenna Smolinski, same thing. Victoria Colati. But one of the keys has definitely been their leadership. I think another key would probably be the energy and the work rate that the whole team has day in and day out of practice, because the way I ask them to play takes a lot of effort.
Right.
You don't sit back, you're not cagey, you just give everything you have and you go forward and you just try to press the opponent. That can be very tiring, particularly when you play Friday, Saturday.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they've continued to do it, and no one has given up, and we've got the reward.
Was it an easy role for you to, I don't know, to say pick up? Maybe you had this role to be the leader. I mean, did you sense that coming into the year that maybe you had to rise up and be the leader on this team?
Me and Coach Nick had a lot of talks in the summer, and he was like, someone's got to step up and like lead the team because we lost all of our captains. So I thought I would try and fill the role and see the best I can do. I mean, I'm not perfect, I'm sure, but so far it's been working.
Yeah, he's smiling. I think so far it's been working. We are in the tournament, by the way. And so was there this aha moment where you're rolling through the season and you say, whoa, we've got something here. We could do some real serious good damage.
I remember seeing Jerry Boyce in the hallway, and it was after
Our athletic director?
Yes, after we swept Cortland and Oswego. And he asked me, so good weekend? And I said, yeah. And for the first time, I thought to myself, actually, we could do some real damage. And I told Coach Boyce, I said, I think we can do some damage here. We might be able to win this thing this year.
Wow.
And that was weeks ago. Of course, I never told my players that.
Never told me either.
As a coach, you don't want to
Absolutely.
brag
Absolutely.
or act
Absolutely.
overconfident, because that can run into your team, and then
Absolutely.
they can take things for granted. And I think, again, we listed some strengths. This team has had a very even keel. We haven't gotten ahead of ourselves.
Right.
We literally take it for the next game, get our points, get the win.
Yeah. So now we move into the NCAA tournament. Beat Geneseo, get the automatic bid. How excited are you about this? Where is the team's head right now?
I think going into the game this year, we were like, okay, like we're okay, it's just another game. And post last year, we were like freaking out. So I think that had a big difference. And
Right.
the team is just super excited to like be here and have the ability to play the NCAA tournament at our own field.
Yeah. Well, I do want to tell the viewers, tickets are $6, general admission, $3 for seniors and students, $2 for children 3 to 12, and that's set up by the NCAA. Saturday, first game, 11 o'clock, Messiah versus the College of Staten Island, and then Buffalo State takes on Montclair State. The winners go to Sunday at 1 o'clock at Koller Field. So hope you can come out and watch some great soccer and root on the Bengals. Nick, Melissa, congratulations and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
Another quick break, and when we come back, more hockey. This time, men's hockey joins us. Stay with us.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bengal Update. I'm Matthew Schaefer with a recap of news, scores, and a look at upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. After winning its first ever SUNYAC championship with a 1-0 victory over Geneseo last weekend, the Buffalo State women's soccer team earned its first NCAA tournament bid in school history. As the championship bracket was revealed earlier this week, it showed that Buffalo State was also chosen as one of the host sites for the first and second rounds of the NCAA playoffs, another first in program history. The 17-1-2 Bengals will host Montclair State on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. at Koller Field. Buffalo State enters the game riding a 14-game winning streak. The Bengals have never trailed during its past 15 games. The winner will take on the winner of Messiah and the College of Staten Island on Sunday at 1. You can watch all first and second round matches played at Buffalo State on buffalostateathletics.com. The good news doesn't end there with women's soccer, as the team found out they will be entering the NCAA tournament as the number 14 team in the country, according to the latest national poll. It is the highest ranking ever received in program history. The Bengals also swept the major SUNYAC awards and landed 8 players on the all-conference teams. Melissa Smith and Kristen Seaforth claimed the Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year awards, while Taylor Carrillo was named the Rookie of the Year. For the second consecutive season, Nicholas DeMarsh was voted the conference's Coach of the Year. It was also the second straight year Smith took home the conference's top offensive player honors. Brianna Knight joined Smith, Seaforth, and Carrillo on the first team. Tiana Hatch and Jenna Smolinski were named to the second team, and Catherine Mimoser and Victoria Colati were honored on the third team. Men's soccer wrapped up its season 11-7-1 overall and qualified for the SUNYAC playoffs for the third time in 4 seasons under head coach Mark Howlett. The Bengals also earned its first postseason victory and advanced to the conference semifinals for the first time since 1984. Forward Bassar won the conference's Huntley Parker's Offensive Player of the Year award after netting 12 goals and 26 points in just 17 games played. Tristan Myers joined Sarr on the SUNYAC first team, and Sammy Wasson was named to the second team. For Bengal Magazine, I'm Matthew Schaefer. Let's send it back to Tom Koller in the studio.
Well, thanks, Matt, for a Bengal update. Appreciate that. Now we're joined by Steve Murphy, head coach of the men's hockey team here at Buffalo State. And Steve brings along Marcus Michalski, his defenseman, junior from Woodstock, Ontario. And we just found out that Woodstock is more toward Detroit on the western side of Ontario. So whatever that means, just nice to know. Murph, first time on the show this season. Give us a little preview of the Bengals this year.
Well, we're young. We brought in 13 guys.
Wow.
12 are true freshmen. One was a transfer. So, part of that was we had a fairly large class graduate last year with about 7 or 8 guys, and little lower numbers, just as far as last season with the coaching change and different culture change, and that kind of just happened. So we brought in a lot of guys, and we're young. We knew that coming into it, but we think we've got a lot of talented guys that blend well with our good core group of guys returning.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of new bodies. Consider it's basically half the team, for gosh sakes. So what does that do for you, the coach? Do you kind of reverse things a little bit? Do you kind of slow things down in terms of your teaching process, and what do you want to get across?
Yeah, you have to remind yourself to stay patient.
Yep.
I think last year we only had 2 freshmen, so we were a little spoiled as far as, most of the guys were older. They knew what college hockey was about, and they kind of played in the atmospheres before. So it really was just teaching them the new kind of systems and philosophy and structure that we want. This year with 12, you're teaching them really a whole new game of hockey, and they've been playing juniors for 1 or 2 coaches for a certain way for 2 or 3 years, and so you're really trying to mold them into how we want to teach them and how we want to play, and it's just going to take time.
So, Marcus, in the locker room, when you have this many new faces, I mean, you've been around, you're a junior. I mean, what was it like in training camp? You probably looked around and said, who the hell are these people?
Well, yeah, it is
Is
different.
it tough to get adjusted and accommodating? And, I mean, do you sense yourself teaching these younger skaters?
Yeah, no, but there is a lot of new guys. You got to get to know everyone on a personal basis.
Sure.
In years past, I think the most we've had is 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And that was my class. So as upperclassmen, you got to take the time to get to know these new guys, find out what they're about, how to handle them in certain situations. But for the most part, we gelled like that.
Fabulous.
So,
Great.
but now it comes down to we're already a weekend. We really got to pick it up. Like our systems, they're okay right now, but they need to be better.
Need to tighten up a little bit, I think, is what he's saying, in the Steve Murphy way. You guys had an outstanding year last year, 15 wins, most in school history, I believe, 15-7-4. Can you carry some of that into this year, especially with all these new faces, or is it something where you kind of go, guys, that was last year, brand new year?
Yeah, I think there's times where you can reach back to last year, but for the most part, it's a whole new season, and like I said, when you bring in 12, 13 new guys, I don't think they really care about last year, and I think that's what we try to, last year didn't matter. So it's a new year and new team, new kind of faces around the locker room. So a lot of positivity, a lot of encouraging things happen, and like I said, it's just going to take time for it to all come together.
So I'm going to ask the student athlete this first. Usually I ask the coach, but 14th in the country right now, and that's pretty heady stuff. What are you and your teammates, what was the first reaction when you heard that?
Yeah, you're happy about it, but it's just a number on a sheet, right? You got to go from there. Like, you got to build off of that and keep going.
Okay. Was that a surprise to you, Steve, or did you kind of sit in your office and go, yeah, okay, that's about right?
Yeah, I think the way we ended last year and just kind of the 9 or 10 game streak that we went on before the loss in the semis, I think we predicted that we would be close. Whether we were in or not, we really didn't know. So, like Marcus said, it's just a number. It's the first weekend. All that can go away with 1 or 2 losses. So, the only thing we're focused on is Plattsburgh Friday night. And
gotcha.
If we're ranked, great. If we're not ranked, so
go.
be it. We'll just kind of continue to do our thing.
So we got a couple games in our back pocket right now. What do you see that you like, and maybe some of the things you want to kind of tighten up a little bit?
Yeah, I think there was some positives, and a lot of it was, when we played the way that we know we're capable and execute our systems, and we play together and we work, we're a pretty dangerous hockey team, and we knew that with just the guys that we had coming back and the freshmen that we brought in. Structurally, and we got to have a lot more compete and a lot more intensity, and our focus, has to be there. And like I said, part of that's when you've got anywhere from 6 to 10 freshmen in the lineup every night. Those lapses may be there, but that's where we need to rely heavily on our older guys to kind of carry us throughout the first few weekends before those freshmen really kind of figure out what college hockey is about and how they need to prepare themselves.
Okay. Your first full year as the head coach. Last year you had the interim tag. We've got about a minute left. When Steve Murphy puts his stamp on this hockey team, what's a Steve Murphy hockey team look like?
Yeah, we want to be well-rounded. I like to have, I like to play with a lot of speed, and we're aggressive. We're aggressive all over the ice, and we think we've got a good balance between skill and work ethic. Right now after the first weekend, didn't go as well as we hoped. We only scored 3 goals. When things aren't going the way we want, we've got to rely on our work ethic and really the little things to help us overcome, the slow start at the beginning. And hey, it happened last year, and we were just fine at the end of the year. So it's a process, and it takes time, and we'll get it. I'm confident that we can have an even better year than we did last year.
Absolutely. It is a very long season. We're only a week into it. So Steve and Marcus, best of luck the rest of the way, and thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to everybody here in Creative Services, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.